All right, welcome everybody. We are so excited to have you here and to finally be ready to share this with everybody. If you want to mute yourselves, I'll go in and mute everybody as well, but let's get that part done. Except we need to let Rebecca talk, so 1 second. More people keep joining, so it keeps moving your name every time I get to it.
There we go. I can unmute it.
Okay, here we go. Perfect. All right, so we're here. We are live and rolling. I'm super excited for this, you guys. I know many of you are coming because you saw my Facebook Live. You kind of heard the story already and what's been going on around here, but we are so excited to finally be bringing this to you. Rebecca and I have been talking for at least 2 months now and coordinating on the back end and making resources and adding features to my event cafe so that everything is as amazing as we can make it for you. And we're super excited. We hope you guys love it. It's going to be awesome. It is awesome, and you're going to realize it's awesome as soon as you get rolling with it. So Rebecca, why don't we start out just with you sharing kind of why you guys went to the effort of creating this platform and like what was going wrong on Facebook so that the coaches or the Oil Camp users here can realize some of the problems this is going to solve for them.
Absolutely. So thank you all so much for being here. So it really happened when, we purchased Oil Camp and fell in love with it, and it instantly just exploded my retention rate on my team. And so giving up Oil Camp was never an option for me. Like, I had to make it work. But about a year and a half ago, we started to have a lot of issues with Facebook. Of course, we all know things like Post My Party no longer worked. So a lot of people moved to groups and units. I tried that, but the groups, everything got jumbled up and people got really frustrated with that. We had units. I just never could get anybody to engage. I don't know if I was doing something wrong, but units never worked for me. So I actually went back to events, and I literally just got up every morning at 6 o'clock and posted, copied and pasted, which after a year gets really grueling. I mean, it's not complicated, but it's hard to have to start working as soon as your feet hit the ground and make sure you're doing that all the time. So that became a huge frustration for me. We also started to have coaches. We train our coaches really well to comment on every post, right? Like, we want them engaged. They started getting blocked out of my events because Facebook said they posted too many times. We started to have some of our posts flagged by Facebook. It wouldn't be flagged every month, but it would be really random. Some months they would flag it and say I wasn't allowed to post that. So I tried all the other things. We went to Teachable, we went to Thinkific. None of those platforms provided the community. And I feel like with Oil Camp, the genius that Jenna and Wayne came up with is the community building piece. We teach people about oils on many different platforms, many different ways on their journey with us. But it is that community is where the magic happens. And so when we went to things like Teachable and Thinkific, it just didn't work. We did not have that community. So I literally went to my husband and said, babe, you've got to create me something to get my oil camps off of Facebook. But here's what I have to have. I have to have a daily reminder to bring them there every day, right? They're already on Facebook. That's easy, but they're not on another platform. So they've got to be drawn there every day. We've got to have notifications so they know when somebody mentions or replies to them. It's got to have automatic posting because I am not wanting to post this every day. A reusable template. So I kind of gave him this wish list and he started to make it happen. It started with the intention that this was just going to be for my team. But as I started talking to some of my uplines, some of my sidelines, they got wind of it. They started using it with us, kind of beta testing for us, and it really just morphed into this amazing product that people started using and loving. And that's when I reached out to Jenna and said, hey, I just want to let you know we have created this and people are really, really loving it. So this has been in the works for about 18 months, and this is my husband's zone of genius. This is what he's done in his career for 30 plus years. He is amazing at this part as far as programming and being able to come up with these platforms. So we're really excited. And we've been using it since January for our oil camps, as well as several other people, and it's been a game changer.
Yeah, and he is a total genius with this, and you guys have done such an amazing job. The first time we talked several months ago, I was like, okay, I love this idea. But we cannot convince people to do something else in their business if it is not like bugs worked out, ready to go. Like, we just can't take people down that road because we know your teams get whiplash, our teams get whiplash. It's like so important that things are just spot on and ready to go. And at this point, it totally is. And every week, Bruce has been rolling out new little updates that make it even better. And I'm like giddy every time I talk about this, because I'm like you, like I am the creator of Oil Camp. It's in my mind. I've got all my checklists. It should be easy to walk through and do all the things. But like you guys, I still kind of have this like resistance. Every time it came up time to set up my next Oil Camp event, I lost my assistant a little while ago, and it was like, oh, I have to do that thing,
Right.
And I didn't want to give it up because I love the Oil Camps, but it was not feeling like it was calming the crazy in my life. Facebook kept getting more and more cumbersome to work with, and we did this workaround with the lobby group and all these things to try and make it work, but we had to keep the community. And so I just, for a couple of years now, I've just been saying and showing, I know it's not the easiest way to do things, but I think it's worth it, like let's do this. But I feel like I have PTSD from the old Oil Camp. And I know
every time I go
right?
to like schedule my Oil Camps, I still have this little catch of, oh, I don't want to do this. And
Right.
then I've actually timed it on my event cafe. In 20 seconds, I can have my Oil Camp completely set up and ready to go for the
It's
next
so
month. So
amazing.
I'm like, okay, why am I stressing over this? It's easy.
I know it's an old ingrained response there.
Yes.
So you guys aren't going to hurt my feelings. I know it was cumbersome before. We did the best with what we had as we had it, and now we finally have something better. And I'm so grateful, because I could never have invested the money to ask somebody to build a platform like this for Oil Camp. And Rebecca and Bruce did it, and now we just get to team up together and offer this for you guys. So I am over the moon about it. It's amazing. I know some of you on here are using it already. I'm going to try and keep an eye on the chat as well, so we can have some Q&A built in here. And I don't want to make this an exact click and show every piece of it tutorial, because we have a resource bundle for you guys that with checklists and steps to go through and training videos, just really simple to help you make the switch and make it so seamless. So I don't necessarily want to recreate that here, because it's already done for you there. But what I do want to do is talk about some of the problems it's going to solve and show you a few features, just so you can grasp like seriously how easy and amazing this is. So Rebecca, do you want to screen share? You probably have a camp open there. And let's just show them. Let's explain first templates versus events. So
okay, hold on. It says host is disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, well, sorry about that.
That's okay. That's fine.
Let's just fix that real quick. I can find your name in this list. Should use the search feature. That'd be smart of me, huh?
I have to say, Jenna, too, and I think everybody on here agrees while you're looking for that, even though it was super complicated, like with Eventbrite and Facebook, and I think doing it every month made it feel a little more complicated. This is the most genius product I have ever added to my doTERRA business. Like Oil Camp has totally, I can't tell you how retention on my team has been changed. So thank you for just sharing your awesomeness with all of us.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's a lot of work, but it works super well. And I'm just so thrilled every time I get a message from somebody that says, this seriously was a game changer for me. That just lights me up, because that was the point. That's what I wanted it to do for you. So, okay, you should be able to share now.
Okay, are you guys seeing my?
Yep.
You seeing it? We're good? Okay, let me see if I can minimize this box here. Okay, so where do you want me to start, Jenna?
Why don't we start by explaining the difference between templates and events, and just how that process was coded in, so that they can understand why that makes it so much easier to have them separated.
Absolutely. Okay, so you guys see here, this is what I call my dashboard. Now your customers are not going to see this. So this is only for people that we call like owners. This would be you guys that are running these Oil Camps. You'll see we have the scheduled events, portals, classes. So let's jump down here to templates. So templates is like a blueprint. So I want you to think of like a blueprint for house, right? You can have one blueprint for a house and you can build 100 houses off of it. So that's what your template is. This is where you're going to go in and set up your Oil Camp template, and then you're going to run all of your events off of these templates. So you can see I have Oil Camp 1, 2, and 3 already set up. Do you want me to go into detail on these, Jenna, or?
Just a quick look so they can see. Okay. This is the part I really love. Your registration is tied to your template. And so, you know, what we used to do in Eventbrite and kind of copy and paste every month, it's already in your template. Once you set it once, it's done. And then all you have to do is schedule an event, and it will automatically recreate your exact same registration page, but with the current date and a new link. It's so cool.
Right. So you can change your cover photo here. You can, of course, do your description. This is also where we have built in the number of days to keep the enrollment open after the event starts. So if you don't want it to have an expiration, you can leave it blank. I personally do 3 days. So we like to close it. Jenna, that was your recommendation, I believe, in our training was on Wednesdays, registration will close. This option here, you can have them see those future activities even though they're not available yet, so they can kind of see what's up and coming, or you can hide those activities. And then of course you have the enrollment questions. I think we're able to add 5 of those. So those are just your enrollment questions to help you know who's on, make sure they're on your team, make sure that you know what leader they go to, you're able to customize those.
And just to be clear, that button about hide activities, if you choose to not check that, it will show all 10 days of your camp, but it won't allow the future days to be opened. So it's really just showing your campers an outline of what's coming up, so they can see the activity titles, but they're not able to work ahead into those activities. But if you're someone who likes to see the end from the beginning and you want to give that to your campers where they can see kind of the syllabus and what's coming up, you can do that. I personally prefer to check this button and just show them one day at a time. So day 1, all they see is the day 1 header. And then when they click in on day 2, now day 2's been added. So that's just leader preference, and Bruce programmed it that we get to choose, which I love.
Yes, and if you'll notice, you'll see all throughout the program, there's these little buttons that's going to help you kind of explain what it is and why it's there. So don't forget about the all the little help that we've put all through this is going to help you as well. Okay, and then we have edit enrollment email. So this is actually the email that your registries are going to receive once they have registered. You can customize this to say anything you want. You can put a video in there, so you can put pictures, you can put videos, you know, a link to a video, and then you can save and send a test email to make sure that is exactly what you want it to say.
So I just want you guys to think back, if, you know, some leaders opted not to use Eventbrite and just, you know, invited people directly into Facebook events. For those of you that used Eventbrite, because of the reasons we talked about being able to see how many people are registered ahead of time, being able to send reminder emails, all of that, everything we did on Eventbrite is right here, and it's tied to the template. So that we create it one time, you customize it once, and then every time you go and create a new event, it's going to pull from your template. And if you want to, like here, you know, change well, this actually was put in automatically by my event cafe, the date of this upcoming camp. But there's a few places where you might want to go in and change a date for an upcoming camp or something. But by and large, everything is done. Everything we had to go in and do manually in Eventbrite is built into your template and just copied over when you create a new event. So like literally we're cutting out like pages and pages of checklists and reminders with some of these features. It's so amazing.
Yes, and with this feature here, you don't even have to customize it. So if you just don't want to do that stuff, it will just say, congratulations, your spot has been reserved. It'll have the graphic that you have set for your registration and the date or the title that you have as well. So definitely don't have to customize, but it's a nice feature if you would like to. So then we just go into edit schedule, and this is where you're actually going to set up your OIL camp. You'll see I have day 1 here, meet your coaches. And then this is where I'm actually putting my activities for OIL camp in. So this is where you're going to do all of your editing. We have the ability, of course, to insert images, to insert videos. The editor is wonderful. We added emojis. Poor Bruce, he kept saying, why do we need emojis? He's such a guy. I'm like, babe, you're dealing with women. We need emojis.
Like, they're expensive to add in here, and we're like, it's worth it. We got to have them.
Right. There was a few eye rolls on Bruce's side, but he has come to realize he's dealing with mostly women and we like emojis. Okay. Now, one little feature I do want to show you here that I think is really important in helping to get your campers engaged. Each day, your campers are going to get a daily reminder, basically, that's going to say, welcome to OIL Camp 1. I'm so glad you're here to join us. And then it's going to have a link that's going to take them directly to that activity. This was super important to me when we started creating this, because people are used to being on Facebook, but they're not used to being on My Event Cafe. So we needed a way to remind them of the event in an easy way for them to literally be able to click a link and be there. So that's why we have the custom daily notification message. Now you'll notice if you click on help, if you don't change this, it's going to say hello from, and whatever your event title is, it's time for your next activity, and then there'll be a link. that takes them directly to that activity. But you can also customize this. So you can come in here and change it to say anything you want each day. I am not super creative, so I'm not as good at this, but I have a Silver on my team that she gets so creative with this text message that even when I get it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious. I can't wait to go in there and check out these activities today. And I know what the activities are. So if you're creative, you can definitely come in here and customize this for each and every day, or you can just let it do the standard message.
And I think this is so important just to really make clear, because, you know, I have talked before about the importance and the value of using Facebook because it's where everyone's hanging out. And I've equated it to having, like, being at a vendor event and having a booth right up front and center where everybody walks by, or being like down around in the lobby past the janitor's closet at the back end of the hallway, right? Like, that's the difference between being where people are at anyway and being on some random platform that people have to go to. And so you guys totally solved that problem with these daily reminders and putting a link directly in the event. We don't have to convince our customers to go anywhere. They are just easily led there by this reminder text, and it works so well. It's amazing. And it totally fixes that problem where I'm like, heck yes, let's leave Facebook in the dust and go somewhere else, because now my campers will follow me there, where before I just didn't have the confidence that people would come and engage the same way because it wasn't where they were hanging out anyway. And this has fixed it. So it's
right.
amazing.
That was one of my number one concerns. And even though we're seeing a lot of people not on Facebook anymore, we still have a large majority that are. So we had to have a way to drive them back to the event continually throughout the day, for sure. So I'm excited. Now they will receive this message via text or email, depending on what you have set up as the owner and what they have chosen to set up as a user.
So why don't you, while we're talking about that, why don't you show us in the profile just what that looks like and,
Sure.
and how those notifications work?
Right. Okay. So this is going to be for you as well as your customers. If they will go over here and just click on their name and go to profile, you're going to see here that they have, we always encourage everybody. I do a welcome video with all of my Oil Camp 1 people. Once they've gone through Oil Camp 1, they know how the system works. And I point these things out. I do have a video that everybody is welcome to use to either make your own or to plug into your oil camps. I encourage them to come and make sure they put their cell phone number in and to check their time zone. That's very important, because when they receive their notifications, it's going to be based on their time zone specifically. And then they have the option of choosing email, text, or Telegram. I'll tell you briefly about Telegram. This is not something that we have. And then in the next week, Telegram is going to be an option. If you're in the US or Canada, I highly recommend you use the texting feature. I feel like more people receive the text. It's right there on the phone. It makes it super easy. But if you're an international customer, or maybe you're already using Telegram with your team, Telegram is an amazing option. It is absolutely free. And actually, I really love the way it looks on Telegram. It's pretty cool, the capabilities you have with Telegram. We're going to have in our support group, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the coming week. And then they have, excuse me, check daily reminder. That is automatically checked for them when they sign up with My Event Cafe. So they have to physically uncheck it if they do not want to receive those daily reminders. I always encourage them to keep that daily reminder checked. And then this is one thing I love. They get to check the day, time of day that they receive that daily reminder. So if you have a morning person on your team that's up at 5 a.m. and they want to get that daily reminder at 5, they can do that. But maybe they decide they don't want to get it until 11 or 12 in the afternoon. They can simply choose the perfect time for their daily reminder. And then they also have this button here, notify me when I am mentioned or replied to. So this one, I always make sure they come in and check this. So anytime somebody replies to one of their comments, or they tag them, so to speak, do an app mention, they're going to get a notification for that as well.
And then would you show us really quick for the leader that wants to set up the option for texting? Let's talk about that.
Yes. Okay. So when you first sign up for My Event Cafe, you're going to want to go into this account setting and set up the texting option. This will need to be done first. So the texting is actually handled through Twilio. You're going to set it up right here. You're going to go into your account and you're going to go to SMS text messaging and set it up. Now mine is already set up, so I can't walk you through that process, but we do have help videos and a tutorial on how to get it done. It's super easy. The Twilio cost, so there is an extra cost. You'll pay that through Twilio. It is, correct me if I'm wrong, Jenna, it is 75 cents per 100 texts that go out.
Actually, it's even better than that. It's 7.5 cents for every
you're right.
text. So like
Yeah,
blows
it's
my mind. And the reason, you guys, because I know many of you use other texting, automatic text services with your teams, and they're so much more expensive than that. But Bruce explained to me that this is not an end user platform. This is what they call a developer platform, Twillo is. And so he can plug it into something and offer it really affordably for us, where we can't, as end users, we can't go straight to Twillo and sign up for text service. But through this, it's a third party service that's tied in through My Event Cafe, and we just get this smoking deal on it. So in the US and Canada, there's literally no reason not to do the text. It's so cheap. And I really do think it makes a big difference on the engagement, because things can get lost in email. And then like Rebecca said, in other countries, Telegram is going to be the best equivalent of texting. But email is always the backup option as well. So.
Right. And if you don't have texting set up on My Event Cafe, everybody will receive an email. That's kind of the default, will be email. But I find that a lot of people, emails get lost, right? Because it's going to go to their either promotions, or if they're on Gmail, or their updates folder. And so I don't really like to count on email. So I highly recommend you setting up the texting feature for sure.
Yeah. And just to explain really briefly for other leaders, because some of you in other countries might be thinking, you know what, I am a Blue Diamond. It's worth it to me to pay for more. Even if it's expensive, I'd rather have the texting option in my country. The reason, Rebecca, maybe you want to explain this, but just the reason that that's not a good idea.
Yes, absolutely.
From the developer end to offer that.
Right. From a developer side, we're not able to offer that, because if we add, so let's just say we add, Brazil in, and it is, most other countries are running like $4 per 100 texts. And if we add that, because I have an international team as well, so I see the benefit of that. But if we add that in for my team, then anybody else that is running an event on My Event Cafe for any class or event, if somebody from that country joins their event, that owner is then going to be charged that $4 per 100 texts. And that could get expensive. And a Blue Diamond rate may not mind that. That's okay. But one thing that we're really passionate about at My Event Cafe is we want this to be available for all levels of leaders. So if you have a silver leader, that's going to be, way too expensive, and they won't have a choice in that. So we have just kind of had to make the decision that we're only going to add countries that are at that really, really great affordable rate for texting.
Yeah, I think that's important to understand. I always appreciate understanding the why behind, some of the technicalities of like, oh, it seems like it should be easy to do, but it's really not. So,
right. Yes,
yeah. Okay. So if you're in the US and Canada, definitely sign up for the text service. That's how. It's super easy. The way that Twillo works is it'll just have you put a base of $20 on your account, and then it'll just draw from that. And when you get to a balance of 10, it'll rebill your account $10. So you're not getting billed these tiny little increments all the time every time it sends a text. You just have a running balance in there. Super simple.
Right. And it's really important, just so everybody knows, when you're signing up for Twillo, don't go directly to the Twillo website. You will want to come here into My Event Cafe, go to account, and you're going to see a setup process down here, because that's going to allow it to tie back to My Event Cafe.
Awesome. Okay. Let's talk about, we were in the template, and we were telling people the difference between templates and events is kind of where we started. So let's close the loop on that. So they've seen what the templates look like, but I just want everyone to be really clear. Once your template is in there one time, let's look at the setting up an event process, Rebecca, because that is just so amazing. It pulls from your template and you're done in literally 20 seconds.
Yes. So why don't I go ahead and set up or schedule an event very quickly. So when you're ready, now that you have your template done, when you're ready to schedule an event, you're simply going to go to schedule event. You're going to select the date that you want the event to start. So let's say the 7th. You're going to choose whatever template you have set up that you want to run off of. You can change the event title. So if you wanted to say September Oil Camp 3, you could certainly do that. This little button here, show event on my website. If you have a My Event Cafe website, if you want it to be on there, you would leave that checked. I don't like to do that for oil camps because I like that to be team only. I always want to check the box, allow user comments in the event. And then send notification for user message and replies. Then you're going to send save, and boom, you just set up an event. So it's totally ready to run. Everything will be automatically posted for you starting on September 7th in this case.
Yeah, so cool. And then the other thing that you guys need to know is that when you set up the event, it's automatically going to register you for your own event. So you'll show up in the list of campers, and that makes sense because you want to get a reminder email as well. Your coaches, even when they're just there to coach, will register the same way that the campers do, so that everyone has access to the event and can get in and view the content. So one little tip I just want to give you that I think is super helpful: if you go up to the profile and teach your coaches to do this too. And actually in our resource bundle, I have this all built in for you. But if you just, after your name there, go in and add coach and have all of your coaches do that, it makes it really easy for everybody to see, all your campers to see who their resource people are in the events. And it also makes it easy when you're looking at your point tracking reports at the end to know who not to pay attention to because they're not actually a camper. So that little tip will be helpful for you guys as well. So that's literally all you have to do to set up your event. And then you can see those links there: copy registration link and copy social media link. Those are your links to invite people. Now either link will take you directly to the registration page for your camp. The difference is the first one is ideal to use if you're inviting over text or email. If you want on social media a thumbnail image to pop up, then you'll need to use the social media link. That makes it talk to Facebook and Instagram and whatever with their little rules that if you're using that link, it will let a thumbnail image come in. And if not, it'll just show, if you don't use that one, it'll just show a text link and not a thumbnail image. So that's the difference on those two. You can use either one, just depending on where you want to promote your event.
Right. So you want me to go over a couple things on this event dashboard here?
Yeah, and actually, if I could, I'm going to switch over to screen share something, the event from the Oil Camp Academy account, because I want to show them the enrollment questions report, but I know my report is customized for Oil Camp. So I'm going to share mine now so I can show them a few specifics.
Jenna, we can't hear you. I'm not sure.
Oh, sorry.
There you are. There you are.
Okay, sorry. I don't know how long I've been muted. What I wanted to show you guys is in these reports over here. Let me actually go to my personal account instead, because I have more loaded there that I can show you. So in your report section, this is really cool because we showed you where you could customize your registration questions. That's tied to the template, so you don't have to redo those every time. But here, when you go to reports, now it'll show you the summary listing of the people that are registered for your camp and the answers to the questions that they answered. But if you want to download a report, you click enrollment questions and it'll download a CSV file for you that you can open in Excel or wherever you like to operate. And then you can have all of this information stored. So think about like the roster. Again, I know not everybody uses that roster. Some of the tools that we put into Oil Camp, some leaders have opted not to use certain things. But if you were one that liked the roster, then that is a great place where you can pull data from the enrollment questions report and put it in your roster. And then you've got who's on whose team, what their address is, if they've been to camp before. I really like to ask those questions because, let me show you, I think where it is for a second. These are the questions I like to ask for Oil Camp, and you don't need to write these down because it's all pre-programmed in the template for you, that if you have the Oil Camp bundle that we've just put together for you, you will have all of this in your account that you don't even have to go in and copy and paste anything. But these questions I think are really helpful. Who did you purchase your oils from? What's your ID? I don't make that one required because sometimes new people just don't even know what that is or where to find it. Have you attended camp before? I want to know that because if they have been to camp, they're welcome to come back, but I don't do prizes the second and third and fourth time they come. And then I always like to ask their address right up front so that when, one, I hate digging things out of the back office. There's way too many clicks to get to where I need to be. And two, right at the end of camp, then I have this report that has all the addresses right there for me that are current. If they've moved and not updated their address in doTERRA, then we have an issue. So I've got their current address, and sending out prizes is really easy at the end. So I wanted to show you that as well. Those reports are so helpful. And this is also what we'll draw from when it's time to do point tracking. So I want to, before we head that direction, I want to just check the chat and see if there's stuff that you guys are having questions on right now. Give me just a second. And Rebecca, are you looking at the chat as well? Okay, live classes in my event cafe. Not at this time. And Rebecca, if you want to unmute yourself and speak to that one.
Yes, so that is something I have been asking Bruce if we could have the ability to go live, and it is a major, major, major undertaking on the back end. And so right now we've just really been trying to get this perfect for Oil Camp. That is something we are going to look into in the future that will be available for the higher tier plan, but it's likely going to be a little while before we can address that for sure. So not at this time to answer that.
Awesome. And then someone asked, is the message reminder sent through Facebook Messenger or email or text? So not through Facebook Messenger, and you can choose email or text. If you, just to recap, if you have set up as a leader the text service, then your campers can select text and they'll receive a text message, because that's all connected and they're able to do that now. If just so you know, on the back end, if you haven't signed up for text messaging and your camper select it, it will automatically default to email. So they'll still get a reminder message either way. But if you are signed up for the text service, then it'll send it that way.
Yes, and for the daily reminders, everybody will, even if you have texting set up for the daily reminders specifically, they will get a text and an email, both. But that's only for the morning daily reminders. Somebody had asked about WhatsApp. So that was the very first thing we tried to utilize, but WhatsApp unfortunately is owned by Facebook, and we ran into two problems. One problem was that you could not customize any of the alerts. So your daily reminder alert would not be able to be customized. You also would not have the ability to do a blast text in the middle of the day if you wanted to. So that was not going to be an option, and the cost was going to end up being about $4 per 100 texts. So because of those reasons, we are not able to do WhatsApp. That's why we chose Telegram.
Awesome. Beth is asking, do you recommend a blue having all 5 gold teams doing camps together, or one camp for each gold? That's a really good question. You know, when I first built Oil Camp, the intention of it was to help leaders at the silver and gold level branch off and start taking ownership of their team and be seen as the leader of their team. I love all the diamonds and blues and big leaders that have so many resources, but I remember as a brand new silver just really wanting to kind of plant my flag, right? That I was the leader of my team, and I wanted to send my own emails, and I wanted them to look to me for leadership. And I think a lot of people feel that way, that they would like to be seen as the leader for their own team. And so Oil Camp was built, one purpose of it was to give those newer emerging leaders a platform where they could put themselves in there and not need to do big webinars and all these things. They could have an Oil Camp that was just for their team. So my preference is if they have a large enough team at silver or gold that it makes sense, and they can run a camp ideally once a month. Just because you don't want your new enrollments waiting 3 months to get a chance to go to Oil Camp. So if their team size warrants it, where they can offer a camp approximately once a month, then I think it's best for them to do that. And then it lets their premiers and their executives, even the ones that are just, you know, wanting to do the business but haven't fully arrived at a big rank yet, they can still be seen as a leader. And I love, you know, for me, the philosophy is to keep the leadership as close to home as possible. Those are more natural social connections. If Premier is the one that sold oils to these people, it's great if she's the one they see on the video and she's the one that they're looking to as a resource. So I really like that philosophy. That's how I do things on my team, but it is up to you as leaders. You as a leader will have a paid account on my event cafe so that you can host these events for all of your campers and for your coaches that participate. They are just setting up free user accounts. And so there's no cost to them for participating that way. When your leaders are ready and want to run their own Oil Camp, it's easier than ever because they can just purchase the Oil Camp the Basecamp product. So they have the access to the Oil Camp documents and the license basically to use this content. And then literally we can click a button and preload the template for them. So all they have to do is go in and insert their own videos. And so it's easier than ever to branch off and let your leaders, you know, before we kind of were like, oh, I just don't, we know how much work Oil Camp is and I don't want to put that on my leaders. I want to let their focus stay on enrolling and that sort of thing. But this really like eliminates all of those worries. And as soon as your leaders are ready to run their own camp, I would have them doing it.
So I see somebody ask, can we set up an event for continuing ed class, record it and post it? Absolutely. Maybe I'm not fully understanding the question. We do have a lot of people running continuing ed on My Event Cafe. You can absolutely do like a Zoom, what you would normally do live, recorded on Zoom, and then you can post it directly into your template, even that day. So if it's 12 in the afternoon and you normally would have gone live at 4, you could go ahead and do your recording, post, put it in your template at 4 o'clock, and then you can send out a broadcast text message saying, oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Y'all come join me. I just posted a video that you're going to love. And then you can be there hanging out with them while they're watching it.
Awesome. So I do want to keep our, you know, this kind of summary part short enough that people are able to watch the recording. So let me just clarify this part for you. We talked a little bit about how you have a website with My Event Cafe. So this is right now, I'm in the Oil Camp account, so I don't have anything set in here, but this is the automatic picture that will show up. You can customize this. You can customize your, obviously your contact information. But I want to show you this because if you are someone who likes to have all of your classes posted and just have one link that never changes that you can send to people, this is where you'll find it. You'll go to my portal and then just copy and paste from the browser bar up here. So I know some people in the past, they had made postcard invites for Oil Camp that they like to give out at the night of enrollment or with a welcome gift. Super fun idea. The catch was always like, oh, our registration link for Oil Camp changes every month. So this is something where if you wanted to put all of your events on your website and just have one standard link that never changes, you can do that and use this link here. If you want to only send the link to your current event, that's where you'll use these ones. If you want to limit who all has access to that so that your registration doesn't get too big, or you want to keep it by invite only for new customers, this is where you would get the customized link just to that one event. Okay. All right, so we could talk on and on about the features and things, but the biggest thing that I want you guys to know, and we'll definitely go back and answer questions as you have them, but I kind of want to wrap up this summary part for you. The biggest thing I want you guys to know is truly how easy this is. I know as we're talking and you're thinking, oh, there's so many little things where you've just said I can customize and I can set up and I can tweak and my leaders and getting them to switch and, you know, be on board with a new plan. I know it might feel a little daunting. So the two things I want to acknowledge are, one, yes, there probably will be a little bit of growing pains, but two, it's so much easier than you think it is. And I promise it will be worth it and you will love it. And we have done everything we can to make this as easy for you as possible. So I'm going to show you guys, I had mentioned on our Facebook Live video before as well that we have a resource bundle put together with resources from me and then with Oil Camp or with My Event Cafe, being able to preload your template for you. So I shouldn't say I want to be really clear, preload the Oil Camp base template that all of us work from, so that all you have to do is go in and swap out the video, swap out my demo video for yours. And I have to show you guys this because it's so amazing. Check this out. Bruce is like, he's not satisfied with convenient. He's like, oh, we can do better. Because this is what he did. So when you are in, can you guys see my, I think we're still in the right spot. So if you need to swap out your day one orientation, you go into editing mode in the template that will clone over to your account for you. You click on this and then you hit this replace button and you pop in your link and insert and it's done. It just swaps it out that quick and easy. This is one of my favorite features because it's just so simple. Like you don't even have to mess with spacing or anything. It's just going to pop in your video for you instead. I do want to be clear, if you are, if your videos are not in YouTube or Vimeo, you will need to fix that. The videos that can be embedded here in My Event Cafe need to be hosted in YouTube or Vimeo. Rebecca, let me know, are there other supported things at this time?
We added Wistia this week, but it is kind of in the beta stage. We need some people to test it out for us. So if you're going to use Wistia, just know that if you have any issues with it, just contact us and we will work through it with you. far as we know, it works great with the little beta testing we did, but we didn't have a lot of options to beta test.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, so if I know some people for a while were trying to host videos in Google Drive. That seemed to work in some browsers, but sometimes campers were not able to view videos there. So it was kind of a thing on and off for a while. But if your videos are in Google Drive, just know that you will want to upload those either into YouTube or Vimeo, and then they will embed beautifully here into your event. What you don't want is for your campers to have to leave My Event Cafe to watch a video, because you can put a Google Drive link in and it won't show a nice picture like this. It won't be embedded here. But you could put a link to Google Drive and then they could click it and it could take them to a new window and they could watch in Google Drive and then come back over to My Event Cafe. But that's just really cumbersome. And it's so much better if they can stay right here in your camp and watch the video on the screen and then just scroll down. So, so there's that part. I do want to point out, there are some things that you'll want to customize. Like here, I've got the grand prize stuff that I like to give, and I like my little intro trio for a friend. So you guys will just have all of these placeholders of what my camp looks like, and then you can insert and swap things out as you'd like. And all of the resources and checklists that I've given you in this bundle that we've created walk you through exactly, so you don't have to look at every single post, but you know exactly which ones you definitely need to customize. And then if you want to read over everything and see it all again, you can. We should talk quickly about the changes on day one. And this is in the bundle, so I'm not going to go into great detail here, but there are some good reasons that you'll want to have some extra resources from the bundle, because we did need to update the orientation video on day one, so it's not referencing Facebook. We don't have to talk about compliance anymore, which I know not everybody did anyway, but I always like to have that in there for leaders that wanted to use it. My Event Cafe is a private platform and nobody's paying attention. So while we should always be cautious, we do have a little more freedom here in My Event Cafe, which I love. And then we redid the daily challenge on this day, because as you've seen, there's kind of a little bit of an orientation that needs to happen for campers to understand how to use My Event Cafe fully. And so here, rather than doing that On Guard challenge, what we did is put in a My Event Cafe overview video. And I think this is like 4 to 5 minutes, and it shows them what we want them to do in terms of clicking the activity complete button and commenting and some of those things that are important for us so that we can point track effectively at the end. I almost hate to use that word point track because it's not even that anymore. It's so much simpler, but teaching them about alerts and making sure that they mention each other so that conversation happens really easily. So now the challenge that's built in on day one is to watch this tutorial video and then go set their reminders in their time zone like Rebecca showed you guys. And then we want them to go over to the introductions post and tag someone and respond to their intro so that they can practice that and get that community going on day one. And then here we want them to know how to post a picture down in the comments. I'm in editing mode, so I can't add a comment right here, but so we give them those 3 little things to do as their daily challenge that day. So those changes, you'll have a new PowerPoint and a new orientation script. You'll have a script for this video. If you would like to make your own, you would just screen share your My Event Cafe account, and I have a script ready for you. But I will say for your first camp in particular, I really would recommend either using Rebecca's video or my video here that do an overview for you already, so that you don't have to create something when you're not totally familiar with the platform yet. Once you run a camp or two, you'll be like, oh yeah, and if you want to switch it over into your voice, you can do that easily. And if you want to now, you certainly can. But both of the links to Rebecca's video and my video are in the guide to My Event Cafe, so you can choose what you want to use and put it in your camp. The default one in the template right now is this one that's Oil Camp specific. So that was a small change that you'll need to swap out on your camp, which again, in the existing template that we have and can preload for you, this is all done, and you would just go in and insert your other video links as needed. But you would need to re-record your orientation video and then the wrapping up video at the very end, because again, there was some references to point tracking the old way and Facebook things that we didn't need. So here in this wrapping up, you'll make a new video and insert that there. Other changes are just minor things. The template itself didn't change significantly. There's very few things, just those couple of posts that I put out to you just now as we're talking. And then anything else that I'm not thinking of right now is definitely in the guides and the documents so that you'll be flagged to go and change anything. So I wanted to show you that. And now let me tell you about this bundle. So this is a preview of what the little mini course looks like. When you purchase that, it's $29, and that will give you access to all of the updated scripts and documents, a My Event Cafe checklist, and me walking you through everything you need to do to switch over. All of these things are very short little, go click here, edit this, do this, and everything is step by step so that you don't have to think or really comb through your camp. You can just go in right where I tell you to and customize what needs to be customized. And then you've got downloads in here, including some information for your coaches. So I've got a My Event Cafe coach guide that teaches them what they need to know and includes a video training from me walking them through just a tiny bit of what we covered with you guys. So it's much shorter, but letting them know as coaches what they need to know so that they can effectively switch over with you. And hopefully that will help make it easier to get them on board for a change. I know sometimes there can be a little resistance there, but hopefully with those resources, it'll make it really easy where we've started the conversation with them, and now once that part is done and they've seen that training video and had their checklist of a few items to go and set up their own account and understand what they need to do, then it's really easy for you guys to just roll out a camp. Literally, you can do this and start your camp next Monday if you want. There's so little to do. You could start it on Wednesday if we ever started camps on Wednesday. It's really not much to get swapped over. But obviously we start camps on Monday, so you could set up your registration and be ready to roll then if you'd like. So we will share the link to purchase this $29 bundle. What it includes is everything I've just talked about with the resources and the new documents and new checklists, take out all the Eventbrite and the Facebook and customize to My Event Cafe, and the coaches training and all of that. Plus, on My Event Cafe's end, I will show you here, we have a Google form built in here. Sorry, my share window's in the way. We have a Google form built into the training. So when you get to that step, it'll say, click here to submit a request to have us clone your template. And you'll just submit your request of which, what your name and email is on your Oil Camp Academy account, name and email at My Event Cafe. Let us know which template you would prefer, US, Canada, or Australia. We do not currently have additional languages available for preloading, but we know that's important to you and that will be coming soon. So we did ask for some feedback here so we can kind of have you guys help guide us in the order of priority on getting those languages loaded up. The difference in these is just the links for the most part. The main content is the same, but having, obviously in Canada and Australia, some of the oils have different names like Easy Air or Zengest, and so the images are a little different to accommodate that, and we use links wherever possible that direct to the Canadian or the Australian website. So if you are a leader in one of those countries, you can select your customized template for your country, and we will load that one instead of the US version. So you'll submit that request and then just give us 24 to 48 hours to get that into your account for you, and it'll be seamless. Then you'll just go in and swap out your video links. The easiest thing to do is have your video planning guide. If you remember this, you hopefully have some links in here for all your completed videos. So if you have this open next to your My Event Cafe window, it's really quick and easy to go swap the videos like Rebecca and I showed you, that swap button. So we'll post the link for purchasing in the comments. Rebecca, do you want to add anything while I'm grabbing that link for them? If you're talking, I can't hear you, Rebecca.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, so we've had a couple people ask if we could show them basically a previous camp where they can see the commenting and the alerts and everything. I am happy to do that. I have several existing previous camps. If we want to answer questions first, and then anybody that wants to stay on to see that, I'm happy to screen share and show that. I've got one ready.
Totally. Yes, we should definitely do that. I'm going to turn host back over to you, and you can do that while I pull up this link and get it posted for everybody.
Okay.
All right, there you go. Take it away. I'm going to do my little link thing over here.
Oh, now it says, let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, all right. Does everybody see? Are we good? You guys see my oil camps? Okay. So first, real quick on here, I do want to show you you can customize your event. So this is the event we set up previous. If you click customize the event, you get some cool features on here. Of course, this is your title and your date. You saw these 3 options when you set it up. You can also set the maximum number of registrants. So if you only want to have 20 people max in your camp, you can set up that 20 in there, and then registration will close when you reach the max number of registrants or when you reach that day that you chose. And then you also, whoops, that was in there. You also have the option of describing what happens if the registration is full. So you could put a standard messaging here that registration is full, join us next month. And then we have preloaded your other events. So these are all my upcoming events. So if this was September Oil Camp and let's say it was full, I could automatically put Oil Camp 1 link for them to go and register, click save. That way they're never hitting any brick walls. So if registration's full or it's past those 3 days, they can automatically go and register for the next camp. You also have the option of sending out broadcast messaging. So if it's Friday afternoon and BOGOs came out, you can simply go in here and say, oh my goodness, it's time for BOGOs. You're going to type your text in here, click send, and it will automatically send a text out to everyone in your camp. So that's another great feature. So let's go to one of my existing, one of my past events. And let's look at, I'm going to click the view live event and show you a little bit of, so you'll see here how everybody has commented. So they've done the activity. And then we have all of our commenting coaches and campers in Oil Camp 2. They're able to do emojis. They're able to post pictures. If they were to reply to, like if I was to reply to Stephanie, there would be an alert. Or I'm going to try to tag myself. It doesn't always work because I don't know which myself. I think it's coach is right. If I was to tag, and I teach all of my campers to tag coaches. Let me see if I can show you how the alerts work. Okay, you'll see here somebody tagged me, right, or replied to me. I'm automatically going to have an alert in the My Event Cafe system. So this is your notifications, right? So you'll see here there are 3 notifications, but 2 of them I've already checked. So those I know I've already taken care of those. This one I have not. So let me go to a different page here. So when I go in here and check my alerts, it's automatically going to take me and highlight that comment. This makes it so easy for your coaches. If you teach them, if you teach your campers to tag your coaches or reply to them, this is going to make it easy for them to make sure they do not miss a thing. It takes them right there. Now, we will send you, because we're trying to obviously keep cost in the forefront of our mind for you owners with texting, when somebody mentions or replies to you, you will get that person, your camper, you will get a text message saying somebody has replied to you or mentioned you on My Event Cafe with a link directly to that activity. Once they receive that alert via text, they will continue to receive alerts here, but they will not receive any more text messages until they either come and click on all of those alerts or they simply click clear alerts. We did that for 2 reasons. We did not want your campers getting overwhelmed with a text every 10 minutes, right? And we wanted to make sure we were keeping the cost low for owners. There will also be a 15-minute delay in that. That way, if you're in here working, there's no need for you to receive a text if you're seeing the alert immediately. So does anybody else have anything they want to see on this end? Once they do the activity, they can simply click activity complete, and that is going to offer them to go to the next activity. Another great feature of that is it does the little checkbox. That way, if they get behind in camp, they can always come back and know exactly where they were at on their activities. Any questions on that? For some reason, I'm not able to see the chat box. So if there are any questions there, if somebody could pipe in.
Yeah, so there's a handful of questions here from all that stretch where I was talking that we haven't covered yet. So let me just answer a few of these.
Okay.
So you've seen the commenting is really simple back and forth, like on Facebook. It's awesome. I've run several camps on My Event Cafe now, and we've had great engagement. And people can post images of their DIYs and their dogs and all the fun things. So I love it. Will there be automatic updates on the content? Like if we notice a link needs to be updated. So the challenge we have with this, we will, now that we have a place where we can store a master template in My Event Cafe that we can clone out to people, we can always keep that updated. The issue is you're not going to want us to clone that out to you every time, because then you lose all the customizations you've made with your videos and things. So our main template will always be updated as new people come in, but as we're doing that, we'll of course always send you an email like we have in the past where we summarize, this link changed, this was what the old one said, swap out this new one. Sometimes the resource itself changes a little bit if doTERRA gets rid of something, and then we find a new resource, so the post might change as well. So updates to you guys will still come in email form, because we can't automatically push that out to everybody without messing up your customized template, which we don't want to, obviously don't want to mess with your things. I do want to say, because I know some of you here have already set up your oil camp in My Event Cafe or in the process of setting up. And so you might be wondering, do I even bother doing that preloading thing? I would say absolutely yes. It's part of the bundle and you need the other resources anyway. And it's included in that. So I would definitely submit the request to have the Oil Camp One template loaded to your account, and then you'll have two. It will not replace your existing template, but you'll have two so that you can open two browser windows in My Event Cafe and easily copy back and forth. And you'll look at it and see, like, oh, is it going to be easier for me to just go put my videos into Jenna's template, or is it going to be easier for me to copy and paste some of her changes into my existing template? But that way you have the most current resource on hand in the best format to be able to update your camp. So I would definitely do that regardless of whether you have your camp already set up. Okay, so Oil Camp 2 and 3, I know, because when I did our little video on Facebook Live the other day, that was one of the first questions was, I've got Camp 1 set up, or I'll do that quickly. When is Camp 2 ready? And I initially said that I needed some time to roll that out, but I've really thought about that, and I want to take care of you guys the very best I can. So I'm shifting my priority on that. I will have the membership overview, Oil Camp 2 and Oil Camp 3 loaded in templates that can be then preloaded into your account. I will do that by Friday this week. The caveat to that is that I will not be able to in that time go through and update and do new graphics and some of the things that I dream of. I always want things to be the very best they can when I give them to you, and so sometimes it takes way longer. But I think in talking to some of you, you would rather have the existing template as it is, even if I haven't made new graphics and updated that stuff, and then you can be running your camps. And then when I get to it in a couple of months, then I can go through and do a more of an overhaul, and we can update the template further at that point. But I will at least get what we have currently into My Event Cafe for you to access a preload by Friday of this week. Now, the preloading, there is a small fee for that because that's a service that My Event Cafe is providing to you. So with this, we've built it into the bundle with the $29, and with future template preloads, that will come from Rebecca and Bruce, and you'll do that on their site where you request that. So I will do my part and have that available by Friday, and then Rebecca and Bruce will show you what the process will be to request that over on their site in the future. Okay, so by Friday, you'll be able to start running camps as is. Let's see. I did post a link in the comments. If you didn't see it, we'll post it again in a minute. So it's down at the bottom of the thread. Yeah, like I said, you can start on Monday. This will all be ready for you. Even if you have a Master Camp account, you will need to get the bundle. It's just $29, and it includes My Event Cafe doing their part to load the template for you. If you have people from both Canadian and US markets, if you're thinking, are you wanting to run totally separate camps, like run a Canadian camp and run a US camp, Amy, if that's the case, you can email us and we can chat about how to get both versions of the template into your account. Oh, and Wayne's so on it. He's already answered some of these in the text, but what are the reasons for wanting to limit the number of registrants? That's a great question. Sometimes for me, I really like to keep Oil Camp a little bit more small and intimate, because then people actually feel like they've made some connections and some friends in camp, and they tend to respond more to each other's posts if there's not 60 of them. And so if we keep the camp, I like to keep mine at about 20 campers, which means I set my registration more like 30. Because then remember, your coaches will be counted in the registration count, you and your coaches. So if you've got 5 people in there helping, 5 of them aren't actually campers. So if I set for 30, then we've got 25 open slots for actual campers, and then you always have some that register and never show up. So that's what I do. You guys can obviously choose however you want to handle your own numbers, but sometimes big, huge events are awesome. I think for Oil Camp, the magic is in keeping a smaller group and building a little micro community, and then putting them out into your larger Facebook group where they get introduced to the larger community, but in small little groups of 20 where they've already made some friends and kind of established a little cohort together. So that's my approach. My Event Cafe is a subscription, yes. So let's talk about that. Rebecca, do you want to just let them know the pricing model there? This is so, I'm so in love. It's incredible.
Yes. So our passion when we started this, Jenna, you and I talked about this, is I kept telling Bruce this has to be affordable even for lower ranks. It's wonderful that diamonds can afford more, but we really need something that that lower ranks can afford as well. So we landed on 3 different pricing tiers currently. We have had a request for a higher tier, but for now, it starts at $10 a month. That's going to allow you 50 users per event. So we were thinking specifically of Oil Camp, and that will allow you 3 event templates. So again, we were thinking Oil Camp 1, 2, and 3. And then, of course, if you wanted to do how to get the most out of your membership, we knew that would be a 4th. So we have another tier that is $15 a month. That's going to allow you 100 users per event, and you're going to have 8 event templates, and you're also going to be able to have 1 admin. So if you have an assistant that helps you load templates and take care of stuff, that would be your admin at $15 a month. And then the highest level tier currently is $25 a month. That allows you 250 users per event. It allows you to have 20 templates set up, and you can have 3 admins or 3 assistants on your account.
Yeah, it's so affordable. And I always tell people, it's like, if you were doing Oil Camp the old way, you paid your little point tracker at least double what you're going to pay for your My Event Cafe subscription. So it's amazing. I know we haven't talked about point tracking. I don't want to make this Zoom much longer, and all of this information is for you guys in the resource bundle as well. But I will just briefly, well, maybe Rebecca, because you're still screen sharing there, do you want to just pull up do you have one handy? And I'll talk for a minute while you look for that. But if we could show them the activity summary report, yes. And I can just briefly show them how simple that is to look at.
You want one that already has people in it? Or
that would be ideal if you don't mind.
Let's see, I'm sure we've got that. Let's go to August.
And Bruce just rolled out a new update yesterday for us as well, which is awesome, with the point tracking. So just so you know, currently in that bundle, there's 2 more little mini modules I'm going to add at the end. One of them is the point tracking, because Bruce and I are in the middle of trying to make one last thing a little bit easier. And so I don't want to go into huge detail here and then have it change a little bit. So we'll give you a brief look just at how simple this is, and then know that that last little module will be coming in the next couple of days. So I did see a quick question though while you're pulling that up. Someone was asking if you don't already have the Oil Camp content. Thank you for bringing that up, because I meant to address that. In this call, we were kind of aiming for our existing customers to get you switched over, but I know where we shared this, there might be some of you on here who have never used Oil Camp before at all and are looking to get started with that. Within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I will have the entire program overhauled and ready for brand new customers to be able to purchase Oil Camp, where there's no Facebook and Eventbrite and all the things. If you were to go and buy that program currently, you would still see the old way of doing Oil Camp. And I was wanting to just get you guys that have already known about this, and where it's a quick switch for you to be able to flip over, I wanted you to have that right away. The downside is, of course, the word's out, and now people are going to be looking for the newest Oil Camp training program. So that is my very next priority. That's where I'm inserting getting the Oil Camp 2 and 3 templates loaded for you guys really quick, and then I'm right back to work on updating the Basecamp training program so that new people who have not yet used Oil Camp can purchase that. And then with that, that will include their template being preloaded for them in My Event Cafe as well. So if you're new, shoot us an email. And if you are in a major hurry to get Oil Camp rolling, we will try and work with you as best we can to get that happening really soon for you. But for most people, just know 2 to 3 weeks is my timeline on getting that next revision rolled out for everybody.
Jenna, are you able to see my...
I am.
Are you able
Yep.
to see the document? Oh,
I did for a minute there.
Yeah, except that I completely hit the wrong. Okay, so you can see the document now. Okay.
Yep, perfect. So you guys, your point tracking is so cool. Really what we did is we kind of simplified, where before with point tracking, we were looking at if they commented, we were looking at if they actually completed the daily challenge, we were looking at if they did everything for that one day, they got extra points, right? There was all these little pieces that kind of added up to that. So this is simplified, and really all we're looking at now is, did they complete the activity, which we can tell. Can you expand your columns just a little bit so I can make sure I'm showing them the right, just on like D through H, if you could just expand those.
You know, this is my nemesis here, Jenna.
Oh, you got this.
Y'all, I can't stand it.
Click and drag.
What's that?
Okay, so
this is crying. Go ahead.
So this is so cool. So right here in column D, you'll see activities. This is the number of activities available in your camp. So, 4 posts on this day, 5 posts on this day, everything together totals up 46 opportunities to participate. this here shows how many they completed out of those 46, and it spits it out in a percent for you. You guys know for me, I like a 70% completion rate, so that's what I'm scanning for. Anybody who's completed at 70%. For me, when I do this, I just click and highlight each cell. So I would click this person here and this one and this one, and just highlight them, and then I've got my winners really easily identifiable there. The next thing I look at is the number of comments they've made. So again, we have 46 activities. They've made 50 comments. That's awesome. That's more than 100% comment rate, which is what you see over here. That was 109% commenting. And so between those two columns of looking at their completion percentage and their commenting percentage, then I can see who my winners are. Because sometimes, even though we're teaching them to click activity complete, that's where my Event Cafe is pulling this data from. How many activities they've completed is based on them clicking that button. And so I always like to also compare that to their commenting, because if it's showing that they're only at 62%, but I can see they commented 89% of the time, I'm going to go with their commenting rate, because that shows me that they were definitely active in camp. The one piece I'm not going to cover here is the extra milers, because that's the part Bruce and I are trying to perfect for you guys right now. So this isn't showing you. This will show you your base like completion rate, but then we have to factor in the extra milers, because somebody might be at 60%, but if they did 2 extra milers, that would bump them up over 70%. So that's the part that I'll put in more detail for you in the resource bundle, so you can see that as well, just because it's not, we need a couple days to sort that out with Bruce, and none of you are going to be point tracking today because your camps aren't even loaded yet. So we have a little time on that, and that'll be there for you. But you can see how easy that is. It literally takes you maybe 10 minutes to scroll this report, highlight your winners, and then whoever has the highest percentage is your grand prize winner. So easy. So easy. All right, if you want to flip back, Rebecca, to this, I'll just double check our comments here. Okay, anything else that you guys want to talk about here, or specific questions? I think we covered most of the questions in the chat. Oh, how do you announce the winners? That's a great question. Let me show you on my,
So while you're getting that up, somebody asked about where's the 20 templates coming from. So that would be if you were running other events. You were running your oil camps plus oil studies and classes. So that's why somebody might need more than the 3 or 4 templates. Just to answer that question briefly.
Perfect, thank you. Sorry, I have a million windows open because I wanted to be able to show you guys a lot of things. Are we on my Event Cafe template right now?
You're on the reports, one of the reports.
Okay.
Registered users. So yes, my Event Cafe, just not the templates.
Now? There we go. Okay, now my green box shows up. All right, so this is how I announced winners. Let me just make sure I'm in my account here. And I will show you real quick. That's Oil Camp account. Sorry, guys. I've got a personal account and an Oil Camp account, and I don't have any customers in my Oil Camp account, obviously. Okay, this is what I wanted after all. Here we go. So in my camp, this is the live camp, and at the end, what I did is I put in a day for catch up and Q&A, and that gives them, so we still send a reminder that they have one more day to ask questions and catch up on anything that they missed, and then the winners announced. This is where I put in the image, and this goes out first thing in the morning because my Event Cafe needs to be able to release the content first thing in the morning. However, I like to let people catch up on camp until Thursday night at midnight. So I'm not going to download the reports and point track Thursday night, and I'm not a morning person. So I'm not getting up before my Event Cafe posts this on Friday morning. So I tell them here, see the comments for individual prizes, they'll be posted by 12 p.m. my time zone. And so then by 12 o'clock, so like at 10 o'clock, I can get the little point tracking done, get everything posted, and by 12, everything's easily in there for them. It takes maybe 30 minutes, but just so you can So this is how I did it. I just tagged the winners and what they won. And then I just included an image below of like the little bundle of prizes that was being sent out to everybody. So that was how I did it. You can post images in the comments. Right now, you can't also add text in the same comment. When you post an image, it will just post automatically. And so I couldn't put an image right here with it, but I posted it underneath so everyone could see. So that's how I did it. Any other questions?
So somebody asked about creating your own content. Absolutely. We have a lot of people that create their own templates for many different events. We've got people running studies and continuing education and one-on-one classes. You can create your own. And we do have other creators that have reached out to us wanting to offer their templates on My Event Cafe. So that will be coming in the future. We definitely will have some of those for sale, but you're absolutely welcome to create your own content for other classes. That's why we have the higher tiers for those that want to have the amazing oil camp, as well as their own content they've created or other things that they've purchased.
Yeah, there's so much application for this outside of just oil camp. We're just obviously focused on oil camp here because we want to get you guys rolling on that, but you will use My Event Cafe for endless things. Anything that you're currently running on Facebook or that you maybe have hosted in Thinkific, if you want it to be a community-based interaction, My Event Cafe is the place to put it. I love the way they describe it as a social learning platform. It's perfect. So.
Yes, and we did take it, somebody asked about the Thinkific, and we did take out, you do have the option now, if you don't want it to be social learning, to turn the comments off. So our whole focus was that it's a social learning platform. That's really what we were shooting for, but we do realize there are some classes you may want to have static content, so you do have that ability now.
Yes. And just Mary, to be clear on your question, when are you launching the new Oil Camp 1 updates? I am not updating Oil Camp itself. So if you're sitting here thinking, oh, there's more stuff coming later. No, all I'm saying is that I need to update my training program on the back end so that new people who've never run Oil Camp before can come in and just only see this new simplified way of doing it rather than all of the old Facebook and Eventbrite and all of the extra stuff that we had in there. So there's no new content coming for Oil Camp for you guys. You can set this up and know that you are set for a while. And if doTERRA has a link change, we'll email you so you know. But if you're asking specifically for brand new people needing to purchase the Oil Camp content for the first time, my goal is 2 to 3 weeks to have that out. So the process to get set up on My Event Cafe, there's a free 30-day trial, no credit card required, even at the beginning. So you just go to myeventcafe.com and set up an account there. And then the bundle you'll purchase through Oil Camp Academy. So the link that I put in the comments here, and I will post it for you again in just a second. So it's down at the bottom of the chat. That's where you'll purchase the bundle, and then you'll fill out that request to have My Event Cafe preload your template, and we have it set up to talk to each other on the back end. So the purchase for that will come from Oil Camp Academy, and you'll just need to set up your free account at My Event Cafe, and you've got a 30-day free trial, and then you are able to modify your subscription plan if you decide you want a larger plan down the road. Okay. All right, you guys, I think we are good to end this recording. We'll get this posted for you guys. Preloaded templates for other things. I have no control over that, so I don't know who the creators are of that content, but that would be a conversation to have with them. And yes, if you have a library for Oil Camp Academy, once you purchase the bundle, that resource bundle for My Event Cafe will automatically show up in your library, and you'll be able to run through all of that content there. It's really quick and easy to change. I just wanted to take every thought process out for you and flag you on any tiny little thing you needed to edit or do. So it should be really simple for you guys. I look forward to answering more questions over email and the Facebook group. We'll go ahead and end this meeting now. Thanks for being here with us, you guys. Sure appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jenna.